Hello from my local railway station at Freshfield in Formby. No, there's no place called Freshfield. It's named after Mr. Fresh, his field on which the station's built. Anyway, I want to thank John from the fantastic YouTube channel Movie Collector for encouraging me to make today's pilgrimage to London. Movie Collector is probably my favourite movie and film related channel on YouTube, so I really recommend you check it out. But John went to a screening a few years ago of 2001: A Space Odyssey at the Prince Charles Cinema in London in 70mm, an original unaltered print in 70mm. And I'm going today. I'm having a rare day off work for myself. I haven't been so well recently, so it's nice to get out and about. And yeah, looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm sat on the train at Liverpool Lime Street. You might think it's a bit of a long way to go from Merseyside to the Prince Charles Cinema to see a film, and it's a lot of money. But today's ticket is free. This is not a paid promotion. I've got a free first class return ticket thanks to Club Avanti, because I travelled a lot with them last year. About 40 days work in London, so they do reward loyalty. So before people say it's a bit of a luxurious expense, the travel's free today. Look, I can't wait to see this film. I first saw it, and I'll try and look up the release date. It was in the really early 80s in the UK, and I saw it at the Unit 4 Cinema in Blackburn, in Lancashire, with my dad. And I didn't quite know what was going on. Probably still don't know what's going on.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome, passengers. It's the 10:43 of Anti-West Coast service from Liverpool Lime Street to London Euston. This open at Runcorn through Milton Keynes Central due to...
So I'm on the right train. As I said, I saw it in the early 80s, so I was probably 8, 9, 10. I'm trying to look up the release dates. I saw it with my dad, and it intrigued me. Didn't understand it. I understood it far better when I was about 11 and read the book, read the Odyssey novel, and it all kind of come into place. And it's just thrilled me, intrigued me, mystified me, frightened me. About 10 years ago I had a nightmare based on it. Can you believe it? And it is a masterpiece. I've got the 4K Blu-ray and it's stunning. But let's see what it looks like in 70mm. Let's look what it looks like. John says there are some imperfections in the print that I can't wait to see. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to some breakfast and a sleep on the train, to be honest, first. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. It's my first time at the Prince Charles Cinema also. So I'm back in the first class lounge at Euston. It looks like I'm in the USS Discovery, doesn't it, a little bit? What can you say? What can you say about 2001? I'm not going to go into it in too much detail. I want to travel home, decompress a bit. I really like the Prince Charles Cinema. It's going through a bit of a rough time at the moment with the landlord wanting to cut the lease and get them out. So it'd be, it's the only independent cinema in the West End. What a lovely place. Yeah. As for the film, I just want to sleep on it. It was mind-blowing to see it again on the big screen. Yeah. What can you say? There was the music at the beginning before the curtains opened. There was music after the interval before the curtains opened. And the music continued at the end after the curtains closed. So it was a proper performance of 2001. I will continue this later because I'm going to quick bite to eat, open the pod bay doors, get on the train home, work out the zero-G toilet. I'll feedback on the film after. I loved it, by the way. It was mind-blowing. As 2001 always is, but this was double mind-blowing. So I've slept on it after watching yesterday's 70mm showing of 2001. Actually, on the way home on the train, I listened to a fantastic Christopher Nolan podcast about it. He was responsible for striking the photochemical print that this series of prints is based on. And it's fascinating. He's a true artist, is Nolan. And yeah, obviously knows his stuff, obviously has a passion for it. And it turns out he saw it at cinema on the same run I did. I've looked up and it was 1980 it was released, which I would have been 8. So little old me, 8-year-old, sat through this film going, what on earth? I actually thought there was thoughts on the film that the dialogue are broken when Hal's reading them. Then there's an intermission, which what's going on here? Then after the intermission, the spacewalk, again, long periods of any dialogue, and it confused the hell out of me as a kid, which is good. It's good. It really challenged me. And I loved it, and I said, a few years later when I started secondary school, I got the Arthur C. Clarke novel, read it. It is quite humorous how he describes, yes, in the novel we go to Saturn, in the film we go to Jupiter because of various things, and he does make very light of it, does Clarke. It's a different interpretation of the story though. The movie is Kubrick's interpretation, the novel Clarke's interpretation of something they wrote together. So it's quite an interesting exercise. Watch the movie, read the book. So the print was lovely. Yes, there's a bit of film damage in parts. Some parts go a little bit more, I don't know, a few more specks and bits of grit and the like on them. But it looked gorgeous. It did look odd though. The slight, what I call stroboscopic effects. I don't know if it's my eyes not used to it, but actually watching a physically projected film took me back to when I was a kid. Because I don't know if it's my eyes or everybody gets this. There's a very slight effect with light scenes in projected film with my eyes. You don't get it with digital cinema. I'm really glad I went yesterday. It gave it a real level of depth and warmth. Even some of the more sterile scenes look quite warm. When they were on the moon, doing the EVA on the moon, see the monolith, it was like they were stood in front of you. It was that good. You know, the screen at the Prince Charles isn't the biggest, and it looked excellent. What impressed me yesterday was the sound. I thought, is it going to be a mono track? And I believe from this Nolan podcast, they used the original 6-track audio, and it sounded wonderful. It really did. Not too loud, loud enough. And the music and some little tonal pieces that I've never noticed before. I've got to admit, I've got an Atmos system downstairs, and I've never really noticed these. Anyway, so it was excellent. Another podcast I read, I listened to on the way home on the train. I just put 2001. Oh, that looks all right. And it was 3 Coronation Street actors. I haven't watched Coronation Street for years. The chap who plays David Platt, the chap who plays his brother Nicky Tilsley, and I think some ginger-haired kid, Craig. Now, I'll call him by their stage names because I think he's called Jack Shepherd. But so Nicky Tilsley and David Platt knew the stuff and they appreciated it. And they actually went to see it at the IMAX some time ago in Manchester together. But the other guy hated it. He absolutely detested it. He's right. Not everybody has to like it. And he just did not get it. One of the other two, though, said his girlfriend was trying to watch it on a flight, on the back of the chair in front of the movie channel, and he went, "Don't watch it on a flight, watch it on a big screen," which, very wise words. So it was really interesting listening to a Christopher Nolan podcast, then some soap opera. Coronation Street's a soap opera in the UK. Some actors from that. Yeah, it entertained me on the way home. But what craft Nolan spent on this restoration, which brings me to the 4K. And Muggins here has also got. Remember these cardboard cases? There's no disc in there. I don't know where the disc's gone. Probably inside another. Yeah, cardboard cases. Quite nice artwork. And the old Blu-ray, which they tried to jazz up when the slip cover on, and the daddy of them all, the 4K, which is amazing. It really is excellent. It's in Dolby Vision, and it's not in Atmos, but it just says Dolby Audio. If you want to know more about this version, again, John Movie Collector gives a really good rundown on this disc, and he actually thought, well, I've got it on. When I was new into 4K, I've got it on Blu-ray. No, this is kind of an essential purchase, and you can get it quite cheap. So again, a lot different. It's pristine, is this? Pristine. The film I saw yesterday was wonderfully not pristine. I like that. It was natural. It was alive. It brought the film alive. I'll come on to the Prince Charles Cinema in a minute. In a theatre that was pretty much full. It was, I'd say, 3/4 full. In the middle of a Monday afternoon. Yeah, a bit strange. Why isn't everybody else working? Why wasn't I working yesterday? I'm working today. I do know that. So I'd really like a 4K version of this next, please, Warner Brothers. 2010. Peter Hyams' much underrated 2010, a completely different film. He actually asked Kubrick for permission. Look, I've been asking, do you mind? He says, Kubrick said to Peter Hyams, make your own film, which he does. Novel's quite good as well. Again, the 4 Space Odyssey Arthur C. Clarke novels are excellent. There's this one, they go back to Discovery. Odyssey 3, which I've got somewhere. That's 2061 Odyssey 3, when the Chinese, I think, go back to Europa and things like that. It's fascinating. There was talk a few years ago of Tom Hanks being in a film about it. Then, in 1997, he brought out 3001. 3001, the final Odyssey. And it's fascinating. His take on space travel. Whilst we're going fast, can't go the speed of light. So spaceships have to be huge, with huge, thick armour to protect them. They're going that fast, little grains of dust to protect them from it. And it's Arthur C. Clarke builds worlds. He built worlds. A great author. Amazing visionary as well. So all 4 of the novels are really good. And yes, you could make films out of them. 3001 is crazy. It's crazy how much Clarke predicts civilization changes, and it doesn't change on a similar. I'll not spoil them. Read them for yourselves. So, but that's already made. When did that come out? 84 or something? 83, 84? 84. Saw that at the cinema. Really liked it, and I still really like it. It's far more of a straight-up Hollywood yarn. And it's better for it. The worst thing Peter Hyams could have made is another 2001. There you go. These Warner Brothers cases. I don't know. Yeah. It's a click, satisfyingly click like that. Prince Charles Cinema. In the heart of London's West End. You've got a free badge. I'm going to wear it. Because it actually looks like I Love Poo, not PCC. A wonderful, quirky cinema. Split into two. I was in the bigger theatre downstairs and a smaller theatre upstairs. It was cheap. I think it cost me £11 with the booking fee. I got a soft drink and a popcorn. The popcorn lasted me all the way through the film. And it was £6 something. Because I didn't really want to go beyond the infinite completely sober, I bought myself a beer in the interval. It was £3.99. So London prices, that's really good. Very quirky. When I was waiting to go into the screen downstairs, they had a TV screen with what's coming next, and they showed the big red eye of Hal just as we were walking in. Nice little touches from people who love film. So if you want to go and see a film in London, go to the Prince Charles. Give it a whirl. Yes, you've got the view round the corner. Yes, you've got the Odeon. Looks. Take your kids to the Prince Charles. What is a proper cinema's like? One really strange thing is the seating pitch. You go into the auditorium and you go down, and it actually slopes up towards the screen. I'm sure it does. It was really disorientating when I'm walking. So, sit near the fronts as well. I was sat row G, and I could just about see the screen over some chap's head. The seating pitches aren't good for us small people. I'm not small. 5'7", not the tallest. So the seating pitch isn't the best. So if you've got kids, sit near the front. But it's fantastic, and they show a real wide range of films. I think they even show some films for £1 sometimes. Air conditioned. It was quite warm yesterday in London, about 26 degrees. Warm for me, and it was a nice temperature. And when I went to wait to get into the screen, I was stood right under the air conditioning unit, which was worth it. I put a hashtag on the screen. The cinema may be closing. I really hope it isn't. The landlord is trying to do something with the lease, and they want to redevelop the site and whack the rent up. It's the last independent cinema in the West End, so we need to save these places. We need to protect these places because it shows history. It showed a photochemical 70mm print of one of the most famous films ever yesterday, and don't see the Odeon doing it. And I've nothing against the Odeon. I've nothing against View. The view up the road from me is any regular views to the channel at Southport. I love it. It's a brilliant cinema. Fantastic seating pitch. We've had a lovely refurb recently. I've spent a lot of money on it. And I love the place. But it took me really back to... It was a real nostalgia fest for me. Not just watching 2001. Not just watching a projected film. But going to an old-fashioned cinema that had a foyer with popcorn in the little foyer and a ticket booth. Yeah, I loved it. Pearl and Dean had a thing before the film. I didn't think they were going. We don't get Pearl and Dean anymore in the Northwest. I don't know if it's a London thing, but here in the old Pearl and Dean theme, brilliant. And I believe there's an app, and I will download the app. So, thanks again to John at Movie Collector for not just, and he's pretty much responsible for me getting into 4K, and this has been one of the first discs I bought, but encouraging me via comments on his channel to make yesterday's rather long trip. I left the house at 9 a.m. I left the house just after 9 a.m. and got home just after 11 p.m. because the train was delayed by half an hour, but it was free, so I'm not complaining. It was a wonderful, wonderful day out. Not going to be rushing down to watch films in London anytime soon. I can go up the road to watch them. If there's a picture house in Liverpool for probably more specialist films, but the view up the road, they show enough old films, but the digital, and I think we'll lose something by just showing digital films. That's my opinion. I like the cracks. I like the damage to film stuff. I don't like the damage to film stuff, but I appreciate the damage to films that they've been handled, they've been dropped, kicked around. There's dust in the atmosphere. There's eyelashes. They're going through a machine in front of a very hot bulb. It's mechanical. It's physics. It's moving. It's alive. And I got that feeling with 2001 yesterday. Right, I'm off to look at some maps of TMA1, and I'm off back to work. So, thanks for watching. Save the Prince Charles Cinema, and thanks to John once again.